All right, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing out there? 1212. It's Frank Red, locked in the dungeon for another edition on a Sunday night. Apologize for being a little tardy, but I had to make sure things were right. And everything's cool. And it is awesome to be with you. I'm going to see how long I can keep these glasses on. It's kind of tough. It's kind of cold. I'm going to take them off. That feels a lot better. Doesn't help me see any better, though. Maybe I need contacts. I have no idea. It's all new to me. What is not new to me is talking about sports, something I love to do. And really excited to kind of recap what has transpired over the last couple of days in the world of sports. And maybe we'll touch on some things related to life. I like to do that also because it's unplanned. You never know where the show's going to go. And it's enjoyable to not only conversate and share ideas with people who consistently support me and tune into the show, but whenever we get folks that are new to the program, that's also pretty cool to expose them to what we do. All right. If you don't know who I am, my name is Frank Red. All right. And as you can see on the screen, you hit me up at Big Frank Red on X, on Twitter, whatever you call it. It's all good. I'm not going to promote the show and ask you to subscribe if you don't already subscribe until the end. That seems more logical to me. And I think if folks who listen to the program understand why I feel that way, I think you need to earn that opportunity for people to check you out or to ask them to do so. All right. So with that said, let's get started, man. Big NFL weekend. We're going to get into the 49ers. They're now 4-0 after taking care of the game, Arizona Cardinals. It was a pretty competitive game. Brock Purdy was exceptional today. 21-22, 283 and a touch. But I continue to say that he has the best collective group of wide receivers in the NFL to me. Their catch radius is maybe Cincinnati is close, but I think the 49ers are better. I mean, and Brock Purdy did something today that we haven't seen him do much in his early career, which is throw the ball deep down the field. He threw the ball 40-plus yards in the air against double coverage, a pass that probably should have been intercepted. But Brandon Ayuk made an exceptional play and caught the ball and set the 49ers up. It's been a long time since a running back has really set the league on fire the way that Christian McCaffrey is right now. Like they talk about 5-tool players in baseball, 3-level scorers in basketball. Christian McCaffrey is the closest thing that you can get to that in football. In that he never drops the ball. He can block. He can run in between the tackles. He can run outside the tackles. He can catch. There's nothing that he can't do on the football field. A complete player. He can run at the goal line. And I think Christian McCaffrey is a legit MVP candidate in the NFL. And I'm sure the next couple of weeks people will start talking about it, but I'm going to start talking about it right now. Let me chill for a minute and get Vicky up in here. Hi, Frank. Every weakness Nebraska has been highlighted. Yes, I was so proud of Colorado. No give up in those kids. The 49ers played fantastic. Too bad about Draymond's ankle. Yeah, ankles are tweaking. You're absolutely right. You know what? I think there's a silver lining, though, with the Draymond injury because it gives an opportunity for some of the younger guys to play. And it also provides an opportunity to see if any of the veterans that, the 49ers are bringing into camp have any tread left on the tires, i.e., Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay has had a phenomenal career, not quite Hall of Fame level, but an above average NBA career. And if he's going to make the team, it's going to be because he showed the Warriors staff that he can play. So now you don't want to see players get hurt, but I don't think Draymond not playing in the preseason is a bad thing at all. I think it's actually maybe a positive, a plus positive. It also gives, obviously, Jonathan Kuminga an opportunity to probably start. So I'm looking forward to all these pieces, because the one thing about the Warriors, I think they need a one more big, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get it, but they have more depth now than they've had, I would say, in a couple of years. I still contend that the championship they won against the Celtics, they stole that. And it's kind of funny to me because injuries played a part. Other teams got hurt, but they stole that championship. Nobody cares. It fits right up there on the mantle with the rest of them. It was all good, but championship number 4 was definitely one for the books. No doubt about that. I'm excited about the NBA season. Media Day is tomorrow. So Media Day is like the beginning of the season. Some teams had theirs on Friday. Most teams will have theirs tomorrow. And it's all nice. It's kind of like, it's analogous to people showing their house off that they're getting ready to sell. You have all of the nice little highlights you want to show off, the chandeliers, the bookcases with rare books, the nice sofas and all that stuff, right? And then as soon as the media leaves, you get all that stuff out the way and you get to work. And I think that's where the Golden State Warriors and all of the teams are. So, but I'm excited. Football season is in full swing, and we're on the cusp of the NBA season started. I mentioned the 49ers having success today. Brandon Ayuk had 6 catches for 148 yards, and Christian McCaffrey once again goes over 120 carries, 106. And based off Dallas's performance against Arizona, I wasn't real excited about that game. But the way that they throttled New England today has given me hope that it could be a competitive game next Sunday night. So I'm looking forward to the Cowboys coming out to the Bay and taking on the 49ers. The 49ers are clearly better, in my opinion. But you got to give Dallas a lot of credit. Whatever went wrong last week, they were able to shore up against not a trash New England Patriots team, and blew them out 38-3. So that was impressive. And hopefully we'll get a good game next week. If you got any comments about the 49ers, we want to talk about, leave them in the comment section, and we can talk about it. Watching Arizona play and watching Josh Dobbs play and watching Geno Smith play last year at an all-star level, all-pro level, and then watching Zach play tonight for the New York Jets. It's the reason why you really don't want to give up on young quarterbacks too early. Now, I made a statement about Zach, and I said that I didn't think he would ever be an NFL starter. And I hope I have to eat my words, because I want to see the Jets do well. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be there forever. Who knows if he will ever play again? I think he will. But Zach is negotiating fear in ways that he hasn't done so in the past. And as a result, his talent is starting to speak. So I love to see young quarterbacks emerge, because it's one of the hardest things to do, play quarterback in the NFL. Justin Fields had a good game today, although he had a costly interception that I'm not quite sure it was his fault on that last play that got picked by Denver. He had four touchdowns and 1 pick, but played with a lot more confidence and looked a lot better. So that was good. That was one of the good stories. Russell Wilson was going to be like this sad narrative this year, and it was going to be a slow ride to the bench. And in actuality, Russell Williams has played pretty good football for the Denver Broncos. And I don't know if that's because of Sean Payton. I don't know if it's because he made some personal changes, but you got to give him credit. He's playing pretty good football and giving the team hope. And winning your first game is definitely a big deal. So, you got any thoughts on any NFL game? We can talk about that. Philly is the only other undefeated team in the NFL right now besides the 49ers. And they play pretty well. Jalen Hurts, is still not playing as well as he played last year, but that's okay. He's answering the call and making the big plays when he needs to. And I think that's what's really important. They were able to defeat the Washington Commanders today, 34-31 in overtime. And, the guy who was going through it on the sidelines a couple of weeks ago, A.J. Brown with Jalen Hurts, had a big day. 9 catches, 175 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think Jalen Hurts was just saying, yo, dude, just chill, man. There's enough to go around. All right? There's enough to go around. Let it happen. And short to form, that's what took place today. So, you got a couple of teams in the NFC, the same ones that we mentioned before. 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't know where we go from there. I mean, I expected New Orleans to light that division up. And to our surprise, it's been Tampa Bay. It's been Baker Mayfield, who has done a really good job leading his team this year. They're 3-1. They took care of the Saints today, which is really surprising. And I root for Derek Carr. I really do. But he has to play better. He really does. So that was one of the surprises of the week to me and of the early NFL season. But at the top, as I said, it's the 49ers and the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. The Raiders lost 24-17 on a game-ending pick. And I don't feel good about the Raiders right now. I really don't. I'm not convinced that Josh McDaniels is the guy. I don't fire people on radio shows. But I don't think he's the guy. I mean, there's so much, every week there's something different. There's a new piece of drama that they have to deal with. It's week to week. And I think that does matter to the team. Although they're playing really, really hard. It's not like they're not playing hard. They are. But they should be playing better. There's no doubt about that. Khalil Mack, the former Raider, Oakland Raider, had 6 sacks. How can you have 6 sacks? That was crazy. Big up to him. Yes, Vicky, you are correct. The Buffalo Bills played extremely well, took care of the Miami Dolphins. What was it, 48-20, I believe? Something like that. Josh Allen looks like robo quarterback again. Remember that game that Josh Allen played against KC, the one that KC won? That was the most incredible game I've ever seen. And at that point, people were thinking that he was ready to take that next step, that next level. And he's had some hiccups in the playoffs. He has not always made great decisions. But talent-wise, Josh Allen is just a straight-up beast. And Buffalo playing well is good for the NFL. And it's good for football fans like myself and presumably you as well. More teams that can play well and potentially win makes it more exciting. And, Miami put 70 on the board last week. I don't think anybody expected them to do that. But, it's really a week-to-week proposition. I'm not totally surprised that Buffalo won. I am surprised by the margin of victory. I didn't expect Miami to be blown out like that by anybody. As I didn't expect the Dallas Cowboys to beat the New England Patriots by 35 points either. All right, so I want to touch on college football. And Vicky mentioned it about the Colorado Buffaloes, a team that was really outmanned, again, by one of the more talented teams in the nation in the USC Trojans, but they didn't allow that to stop them from going out there and almost pulling off a tremendous upset. To me, the best thing about that game was the coming out party of Amarion Miller, a true freshman, 6'2", 7 catches, 196 yards, and a touch. Everybody was like, who is this guy? And it's all good for Colorado because what he did was gave Coach Prime another weapon. Just somebody else that he can depend on and somebody who can make plays. And he was a 4-star recruit, so he was definitely highly recruited. But he's like 6'2", 190, 200, and can go get it. He's only a freshman. So I think what this also will do is make Colorado better from this standpoint. You'll probably see Travis Hunter playing less wide receiver. He'll probably play like Dion did when he was playing. Kind of a slot. On occasion he'll get on the field, but he won't be an every down wide receiver like he was in the first couple of games because they got more players. And I think that's good for the Buffaloes. Now, they got a game this week they got to win. They play Arizona State, I believe. Yeah. And they got to win that game because the Oregon game, they weren't supposed to win that. The USC game, they possibly could have won had they had another quarter. But that's not a game that you looked at them and said that they were going to beat USC. As competitive as they were. Now, I want to ask you all a question about Caleb Williams. He had 6 touchdown passes for USC, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. What do you think? Are you excited about, is he a surefire guy who's going to set it off early in the NFL? Do you see things in his game that you think he needs to work on? Do you have any trepidation? Because it's all good right now. And a lot of these college quarterbacks, because they have so much time to throw, they look a lot different. And I want to see Caleb throw from the pocket consistently. He's done that. I know he can do it, but more times than not, he's out of the pocket running. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that the defenses at the NFL level are so fast that when you leave the pocket, the time and space that you had in college football, you oftentimes don't have that at the NFL level. And you make yourself susceptible to real hard hits. So I'm interested in just seeing his game evolve. Great player, probably going to win the Heisman Trophy again. That hasn't happened since '75, since Archie Griffin did it. And he's going to be either number 1, number 2. I can't see him dropping beyond 3, but probably the number 1 overall pick. And so a lot of people think he's good. I think he's really, really good. But the quarterbacks coming to the NFL from college, it doesn't always happen right away. Most of the time, it doesn't happen right away. And I think that's the part that really nobody knows. That's the unknown. Like, if you look at like C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State, playing really good football now with the Texans. I didn't see him doing that right away. I thought he'd be good, but he is exceeding my expectations early on. The guy's throwing for 300 yards a game, very accurate. So there's a lot of unknowns about college quarterbacks. The idea of Shedeur Sanders coming out this year, I don't even want to see that. I don't. Not that he can't make a team, not that he might not be a first or second round pick. I just think he can set college football on fire next year. If he stays one more year with Travis Hunter, with all of the recruits that you know Colorado's going to get, they could be a top 10, top 5 team next year. They really could. But it depends on Shedeur making the decision to stay in college. All right. Let's talk about a topic that created a lot of anxiety in the minds of sports fans. Cheerleaders are getting their pom-poms out for the Portland Trail Blazers for the alleged incredible job they did trading Damian Lillard for all of these assets. Now, did Joe Cronin, the general manager of Portland, do a really good job? Yeah, he did. He did a good job. But he did not cure any horrible diseases. You know, he didn't discover a Earth-like planet in our solar system. He was very pragmatic. He did a good job for the Portland Trail Blazers, acquiring assets. But this afternoon, when I was preparing for the show, I said, well, let me look a little deeper about this. First of all, the picks that he got Boston's pick. First, he got 3 first-round picks. He got 3 first-round picks. He got some first-round. He got 2 trade swaps, which doesn't excite me. I mean, I don't. People would never even talk about that before. But he got some trade swaps with the Milwaukee Bucks, and he got basically 2 players that have an opportunity in Portland for more than a couple of years. DeAndre Ayton is probably going to be there. And I think Robert Williams has a good chance to be there also. And they're going to form a solid center combination that Portland really hasn't had in quite a while. The only question about Robert Williams is, can he stay healthy? Because he has an ailing knee. Every year there's an issue with his knee. And I looked at his contract. He got 3 years left of his contract. So it's not like I don't think he's going anywhere. And DeAndre Ayton, the same thing. DeAndre Ayton has all-star talent. And if Chauncey Billups can motivate him, if he can see the light and motivate himself, then he has a chance to really be a staple in what they're going to do moving forward. The only problem is we haven't seen that from DeAndre Ayton. We haven't, but he has the talent. Malcolm Brogdon, I don't think he's long for Portland. They're already talking about that. He's not going to draw a first-round pick. No way. Probably a second, which is not horrible. But the picks, the 2 first-round picks beyond next year's pick are in 2029. If I'm a general manager, I can't even think about being in one location 5 years from now. Don't even mention the coach. You think, literally, Chauncey Billups is on the hot seat right now. So the assets are assets. And depending upon how Milwaukee is in 2029, I expect them to still be good. Why wouldn't they be good? Particularly if Giannis is going to be there long term. You're looking at picks that are somewhere between, at best, 15, at worst, in the low to high 20s. Now, that's not bad because there's some diamonds in the rough that you can find. But we're not talking lottery picks here. We're not. So, good job by John Cronin, but the chorus of pats on the back and all the stuff that he supposedly did to these other teams, I just don't see it because it's a win now mentality. I would ask you guys a question: how long before Portland makes the playoffs? They're going to be exciting. Scoot and Chayton, those guys are future stars. But I wonder, how will they be able to ascend to that next level? How long is it going to take? Is that on the personnel? Is it on the coach? Probably a combination of both. But it's a win now mentality. The other thing you guys need to take a look at is with expansion coming, and expansion is probably going to come within 2 years. You're only going to be able to protect probably like 8 players on your team. That's it. 8 players. So some of the teams are going to lose some really good players. You're going to go to expansion teams. So that's another way to look at it. I'm still of the opinion that Miami came out okay. A lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people think that, they got exactly what they deserve because they wasn't willing to give up guys that Portland wanted. I disagree with that. I think time will tell. I have no problem with Portland saying, you know what, this is not good enough. We're going to look at other opportunities for the assets that we have, namely Damian Lillard. However, there's always some luck involved. There's always some luck involved. And the fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo told the Milwaukee management that, if we're not building this organization in a way that I'm convinced we're going to be good, then I'm not signing an extension. That helped Portland, no doubt about that. Now, they obviously did a good job flipping Jrue Holiday to the Celtics. It helped them, and it helped the Celtics. Getting Robert Williams back is decent, and Brogdon is a piece. But Brogdon, I think, is going to draw maybe a second-round pick. Anybody think Malcolm Brogdon is worthy of a first-round pick? He wasn't even a first-round pick himself. I don't think so. I think he's a solid number 3 guard, and he could possibly start for a team that's really good, But I don't know. I just think he's a solid NBA player who's probably not long for Portland. He has a couple of years left on his deal. The last year might be a player option. I couldn't really find that this afternoon when I was looking. But I see him moving on and maybe starting for one of those expansion teams that's going to come into the league at some point. Nick J, coming from NorCal Sports Channel. I thank you, brother. I really appreciate you. And everybody else who checks out my channel, when you finish with my guy, Dan Coach Amelia. Really appreciate the job that he does. I'm going to touch on, I'm not like a rabid baseball fan for a lot of different reasons that have nothing to do with baseball. And I've spoken to those points in the past. Vicky says, I was crying today about Brandon Crawford, one of my favorite Giants. I don't know where he's going next year. That's something about baseball that touches the hearts of fans. Players become others. Yeah. So did they say they were not re-signing him next year? Is he retired? He's obviously not retiring, is he? Yeah, he's one of my favorites also. I don't know. Is he Hall of Fame? Probably not. But he's going to be in the Giants Ring of Honor, and he could be in my Hall of Fame. This dude was rock solid, man. Not only was he one of the best Giants ever of his era, he's a winner, and he's from the Bay. He's from Southern California. So, if Brandon Crawford is not a member of the Giants next year, that'll be tough. But he's probably at the stage of his career where it's time to move on. So many great players have moved on. Will Clark, one of the most popular Giants of his era, didn't finish his career as a San Francisco Giant. Not many players like that do. Buster Posey was able to do it, which is kind of cool. It doesn't happen very often. Aussie Rules says, hey, Big Frank, what's up? How you doing? Thank you for checking out the program. I appreciate you. And I want to send a shout out to Eric and Dan. Yeah, those are my guys posting my channel. I love it. I love it. Aussie Rules says, are the Bucks and the Celtics now the favorites? In the Eastern Conference, I would say definitely. And I would say they're the favorites. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Even with the Western Conference teams, the teams I think are going to be good, the Lakers, the Warriors, the Nuggets, the Kings. Man, this is not your grandma's NBA. All right, I've been watching NBA basketball for a long time, and glad to subscribe. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Listen, I've been watching basketball for a long time, and at no point in history has the NBA been more competitive than it is right now. Because Chris Paul started to come off the bench. He needs to come off the bench. We need to stop playing, all right? Let's stop this right now. Stop it. Stop it. Chris Paul needs to come off the bench and be a spot starter. He might start 20, 25 games this year because of injuries, because of resting, which Steve Kerr is certainly going to do now. But being the quintessential starting PJ for the Warriors, no way. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it will. And I want to see him play with Jonathan Kuminga and some of the other younger players, because I think that he would help those guys get better. Cool Breeze says teams got really good. I still think the Warriors need another big. I totally agree with you, Cool Breeze. And I've been saying that consistently, that they need another big. And I think that they want that flexibility with that last spot, and I don't blame them. They don't want 15 guaranteed contracts. They don't want that. And I think that's part of the reason why Dwight Howard was not signed. Because if you're Dwight Howard, you're not joining the Warriors unless they give you a guaranteed contract. This guy's a future Hall of Famer who can still play. And that might be a sticking point for some of the top 7 teams in the league. Could Dwight get a job with a mediocre NBA team? Possibly. But maybe not with his team of choice. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's some injuries or something happens that Dwight ultimately gets a guaranteed contract. But I think the Warriors wanted that flexibility. They don't really need a center earlier in the season. They have enough guys. They don't play through their bigs. So I get it. I'm interested in seeing the Sacramento Kings. They're as good as anybody. The Kings' growth this year will be from the neck up. Do they believe that they're better than the Warriors? Do they believe it? Because if they believe it, they have a chance. Let's go back to Game 7 of the playoffs. Was that? Yeah, I think it was Game 7 that the Warriors won in Sacramento. I don't think they quite believe that they could beat the Warriors. I know the Warriors thought that they could beat them. And they were just as talented. They've improved their team this year. So in the Western Conference, it would not surprise me if the Sacramento Kings have the best home record of any team. They're going to be tough to beat at home. My man Willie says Golden State Warriors coming out of the West in 2024. Well, tell me why, though. I don't think you're wrong. But tell me why. Romo, good evening to you, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate y'all. I really do. And it'd be nice to get a comment on Kapler. You guys are really into that. You follow baseball as well as anybody, and I would love to get a comment on that. I mean, to me, he was kind of an odd duck, right? He was kind of aloof, and that doesn't mean he wasn't a great manager or a good manager. I don't think he was as bad as some people think he was. I don't. Do I have a problem with the Giants moving on from Gabe Kapler? No, I don't. Because I think that there is something to alignment with the manager, the players, and the fans and management. I mean, all of those variables matter. And we saw some strange things with Kepler and going to the mound and guys walking away. No, it definitely was not Bochy-esque or Dusty Baker-esque. Some of those things would never happen. So, my question is, who can the Giants get? Who can they get? Because if we're honest, Kepler didn't have the best pieces to work with. In spite of being up 10 to 12 games, was it late July, early August, and it has collapsed, finishing 3 games below 500. So there's a lot going on there. That saga's over. I actually think Gabe Kapler's happy. To be honest with you, I think he couldn't get out of the Bay Area fast enough. Mark Graves, is Portland going to keep Robert Williams? He would work good in the Warriors uniform. Yeah, he would. He makes $12 million a year. I think they're going to try to make it work because he does a couple of things well. He protects the rim and he rebounds. And when you can dominate center matchups on a nightly basis, then you got a good chance to win some games. And I think that, they don't know who DeAndre Ayton really is. You don't really know a player until that player is in your organization. So they got covered. They got covered with Robert Williams. He makes $12 million a year. He has 3 years left on his contract. So it's team friendly, as they like to say. And if you combine him and Ayton together, probably one of the more talented center combinations in the NBA. Austin Rule said the Pacific Division looks amazing. Yeah. Cubs, Kings, Lakers, Clippers, Suns. You're right, Frank. It's crazy. It's crazy. Here's my point that I was thinking about when I was preparing for the show tonight. Back in the 80s and back in the 90s, every NBA team had a couple of guys at the end of their bench who probably wouldn't be the best player at the YMCA. I'm talking high-level YMCA basketball. They probably wouldn't be the best player. They were on the team because they knew the offenses, they were professional, they had a good run, and they were well-liked within the organization. When they needed to send players out to schools, they were probably number one on the list. And I'm halfway joking because all NBA players who put uniforms on are good. I'm not being serious here. But kinda. Those players don't exist anymore. The NBA is so good that your 12th man is an absolute star in China, right? In Europe. That dude is balling out of control, probably making millions of dollars. That's how good the NBA is. And I'm going to give you a name, not because he wasn't a good player or anything, but I think of a guy like him, Judd Bushler, the great Arizona Wildcat player, volleyball guy, former teammate of Steve Kerr and Tom Tolbert. Judd Bushler played probably 6, 7, 8 years in the NBA. Barely 6'6". Maybe, I think Bushler was like a 3rd-round pick, if I remember correctly. That dude played 7, 8 years in the NBA. In the last 3 years or so, he kind of survived. That was the NBA then. That NBA does not exist now. My guy, Juan Toscano Anderson, who had a tryout with the Warriors, I was hoping that he was going to stick on with the Warriors. Great guy, great team guy, tail off. But I looked on the training camp roster now, I don't even think he's being invited to camp. And part of it is about what I'm saying now. The NBA is so good. There's so much talent. It's tough making that league. Vicky coming in strong, she says, don't let the door hit you on the way out. You're talking about Gabe Kapler. I can only assume. RC Rule says all 5 Pacific teams only behind Denver, Memphis Champs, Northwest. Yeah, man, it's crazy. That's why they're talking about like 75 billion. The NBA is trying to get $75 billion for their next TV contract. Because, listen, the NBA ticket is probably the most popular brand outside of the United States. I remember going to a Warrior game, right, 2 years ago. I had some really good tickets, because somebody hooked me up. And I'm sitting like in a pretty good section. I'm sitting next to these 2 cats who were on like a world tour from Australia. They're just traveling throughout the United States. It's like, yeah, we're gonna, we love the Warriors. And we went to Vegas. And we came to the Bay Area. They're gonna go to Chicago next week. We're gonna go there. Blah blah blah. I go, well, how do you follow the team so closely? He goes, I got the ticket. I got the NBA ticket. So there's some real money to be made. Why do you think the NBA is so not protected, but they value those relationships in China and some of these other countries? Because there's a lot of money to be made. That's why. Cool Breeze says Kapler needs to go. Players didn't respect him. He never had the clubhouse from a reported unnamed player. Farhan needs to go also, hopefully tomorrow. That would be interesting. If Farhan says that, he came out a couple of days ago, he says, I made a recommendation to fire Kapler. And I gave it to the ownership board. And now you're saying that they might can him too? That'd be funny. That would be funny. I mean, Aaron Ellis is 95%, 99% Farhan says, remember Kapler was far. Yeah, exactly. So who should they get? Who can they get? Willie says the Warriors have a deep bench. Yeah, they do, man. They got players. They got, not like superstar caliber guys, but Kerr has more flexibility now than he's had in a long time. And here's a sneaky thing that no one's talking about, and this is Steve Kerr, being influenced by Popovich and certainly Phil Jackson. Kerr doesn't really want a lot of young guys. He doesn't. Because young guys make mistakes. And he realizes that if this team is going to reach its full potential, they can't be a high mistake team. They can't. If you look at the numbers last year, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, and Klay Thompson, their production took a precipitous drop past around 33 minutes. If they played more than 33, 34 minutes, their production started to go way down. The Warriors have every analytic tool known to man, and they know this. So one of the things that they wanted to do this year was make sure that they had competent players coming off the bench who were not going to make mistakes. And I think that that's going to help the team. I do. It's going to give the veteran guys an opportunity to come back mid-fourth quarter and finish games strong. And they wasn't able to do that last year because they were tired. As in shape as Stephen is and Klay Thompson, fatigue started to set in because they're older guys. Jaime Jaquez made the Heat roster. Wonder if Jrue Timmy. Jaime Jaquez made the Heat roster. He's going to be a mainstay, Austin. I contend that he was the sticking point in Miami dealing with Portland. That's what I believe. Jaime Jaquez is going to be one of those dudes. That guy is going to set Miami on fire. And as I said a couple of days ago, he's also going to make Tyler Hero better. Because now Tyler Hero can be Rex Chapman. Doesn't have to be anything else. And if he's going to improve his defense, it's going to be gradual. I don't think that he'll feel like he's on an island when he's on the court. But in terms of pure scorers, Tyler Hero is one of the best pure scorers in the league. It wouldn't surprise me at some point if he doesn't settle into a six-man role. So, you know, Tyler Hero being talked about like he was trash, to me was just dead wrong. And I said before, his $30 million contract, once the new TV contract happens in the NBA, $30 million is going to be equivalent to like 18, 17 million. It's not going to value $30 million. So I like what Miami has. I do. They got a bunch of, they have some veteran players. They got a nice combination of older guys and young guys. And the one unknown for Miami is Orlando Robinson, the 7-foot center out of Fresno State, who they developed, who's a really talented guy, shoots a 3, 7 foot. Don't sleep on Miami. Don't sleep on them. I'm telling you that right now. Don't do that. Something tells me it will be Wotus, since he's the internal guy. Keep fans happy. And if it doesn't work, Farhan can say, hey, I chose one of our own. Wotus has worked with 4 different managers. That's a pretty smart choice. You know, when things are not going well, he can whip out his guitar. You know, give us a couple of James Taylor covers. You know, maybe he'll invite Joni Mitchell into the clubhouse, and you know they can have a nice little session when people are not feeling well. No. Listen, Ron Wotus is a good baseball guy. He retired. I didn't know that he still wants to do this, man. I mean, why not? Why not? He definitely has his finger on the pulse of the Giants community, fans. They would love him. And there would be no disrespect. Definitely fans would respect him. No doubt about that. Vicky, no. Vicky has a question. Why can't they raise the cap then? Why does the NBA punish teams that want to keep their team together? Because owners are competitive. And the commissioner works for the owners. So it's hard to have a singular view. You're absolutely right. The Warriors didn't do anything wrong. Only they did was develop their guys. And as they won more championships, the players, deservedly so, made more money. So why should there be some type of bird rule type situation where if you keep your veteran players, you can pay them more money? It's logical. It makes perfect sense. But owners are competitive. And owners are like, I wasn't going to say little kids, but there's some responsible little kids. Some owners have a mentality that it's not them. All right? Some organizations have been horrible for 20, 30 years, and they'll still tell you that it's not them. It's the system that is against us. That's why we can't win. Geography matters. That's why we can't win. And that's not true. So owners, smart owners and folks with influence are continually trying to exert themselves and stop teams like the Warriors from winning. Aaron said, something tells me it will. Okay, you said that. Ronnie Glitchia, what's up, brother? What's up, Frank? What are the Dallas going to say about Purdy and the 49ers this week? You know what they're going to say. Wait till they get a hold of Dak Prescott. What do you see Dak take on that Bolton defense? Nah, you know what? I think that anybody who has doubted the 49ers has to pause and just acknowledge that they're really, really good. In this system, Brock Purdy is phenomenal. He's excellent. He really is. It doesn't mean that he can't get heated up. Doesn't mean teams can't heat him up because he's not quite the same when he's under pressure. But that dude is a computer back there. I watched him, and he might make a bad throw here or there, although 20 for 21 today wasn't any bad throws. But I saw the one incomplete pass, and that was strange. Dude was just on fire today. This offense is so precise. He makes the reads as well. He looks like, I'm going to say this, and people are going to spill their coffee if they're driving. I might cause a couple of accidents. He looks like Joe Montana. Now some of you haven't seen Joe Montana play. I did see him play. And that was Joe Montana. Joe Montana sat in the pocket, and they didn't run the same offense. They ran the West Coast offense. But Montana got the ball to everybody. And it was online. It was where it needed to be. And it was in a situation where the Jerry Rices of the world could catch the football and run away from people because invariably they would be off balance because the offense was so precise and the windows were so tight. Unlike Brock Purdy looks like he's throwing the football in a pool. Some of those passes he threw today, I'm like, does Arizona have 8 men on the? Is Arizona playing 8-man football? It was crazy. 20 of 21, put up 35 points, but he's only assistant quarterback. He doesn't do much with it. Listen, Brian. At this point, I talked to a really good friend of mine last night when we were watching the Canelo Alvarez Charlo Fight. I want to see Brock Purdy get paid. How many people think that he's going to be around long enough to get paid? Validation of Brock Purdy's greatness is, I guess everybody would say, winning the Super Bowl. That's the most important thing. And then I want to see this young man get paid. That's what I want to see. Because if he doesn't get paid, that pretty much would build the perception of him, according to the organization, being a system quarterback. And I kind of think there's some of that there, although he's doing everything he can do to eliminate that conversation, just squash that conversation. But I want to see him get paid because he deserves it. Based on what he's doing right now, if we lived in a world of fairness, Brock Purdy would be making what, $20 million right now? He'd be making $20 million a year, bare minimum. He's not making anything close to that. He'd be lucky if he makes $1 million. So I get excited when players get paid. Tell me you don't watch 49er games without telling me you don't. Everybody's watching 49ers games. American team versus San Francisco 49ers in some chance. Oh, okay. Yeah. That means you think Dallas is going to beat Philly. I don't know, man. I think if Dallas can convert to like a zone defensive team on the back end and be the best at doing that, then maybe they can overcome the Diggs catastrophic injury. Well, they can't play a lot of man. They can't. And I think that limits them. I think Philly is slightly better than Dallas. But who knows? I don't think anybody's better than the 49ers. I think the 49ers are the best football team in the NFC. And it will take some unforeseen dynamic to make that not be a reality at the end of the year. Now, could they lose to Seattle? Absolutely. Could they possibly lose to? They're going to lose some games. I think they are, but I think they are the best team. Aaron says, I need to see Purdy deal with adversity. See how he responds after having a 3-pick game. He just hasn't had that yet. Yeah. You're right, but there's a couple of things that will possibly make that not happen. First of all, Shanahan won't put him in harm's way. So the likelihood of him kind of throwing the ball in those tight areas where those 3-pick games could happen, I don't know if he'll be put in that situation. I doubt it. And he knows the offense so well. Most of the time picks happen because quarterbacks make mistakes. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't. We've been waiting, or some have, for this dude to be human, and he hasn't been human. He hasn't. So, I don't know. Brian says, it's nice to watch a competent quarterback run this offense. To me, the most impressive aspect of Purdy's game is decisiveness and ability to read the field. We forget that this is his second year. Yeah, crazy. It really is. And it speaks to his processing skills, his football IQ, and he was coached well in college. He played a lot of college football, the pro-style offense at Iowa State. And I remember watching him play. After his sophomore year, people were mentioning, they were having first-round conversations about this guy as he was knocking off some of the top Big 12 teams. And then late in his career, maybe his senior year, didn't quite play as well. And, the narrative changed to row the boat up in Minnesota. And all of a sudden, Brock Purdy was not in the news as much. But dude's played a lot of football. And he's clearly landed in the right spot for his talent. So I wish him all the best. There is another level, and we're going to find out if he is exposed to that, because inclement weather too. I haven't seen Brock play awesome football in inclement weather. Some of you might draw up a game in which he did that, but off the top of my mind, I just don't remember him dealing with the elements in ways that I think he'll have to at some point. I don't know. So right now the guy's playing lights out. I don't think he's a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford, though. I've heard that. I'm like, wait a minute. No, I think he's a top 10 to top 12 quarterback, which means that you're in the top 1/3 in the NFL. Guys playing terrific football right now. I'm going to bring everybody down, but I'll make myself feel good, maybe somebody else. The WNBA Finals is set. The Las Vegas Aces will take on my New York Liberty next week. I'll leave it there. But just acknowledge for a second the ascension of women's basketball. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. It took 20 plus years, but it's actually a viable sports brand at this point. And it is the result of the hard work of the women, the coaches, the parents, and a true partnership between the NBA and the WNBA. Because it doesn't happen if the NBA doesn't want it to happen. So all around, hand claps all around to bring it to where it is right now, because it's fun to watch, man. Satu Sabali, my second favorite player. My favorite player in the league is Sabrina Ionescu, and then Satu Sabali. Ironically, they were teammates at Oregon. Aaron says, I just hope CMC isn't gassed by week 10. I obviously get why he's getting so many snaps and touches, but his workload has been insane early on. Yeah, but you look at his body, this dude trains like a mother. He's in tip-top shape. And I think quietly, he also wants to live up to that $16 million a year contract that he has. Because he and Kamara are the only ones that are making that kind of money. And he's the only one who's actually living up to that salary. And I think for a lot of reasons, his pride. I think the guy plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's talked about it before. The fact that he's the son of a very good NFL player means something to him. And Christian McCaffrey is full go all the time. And maybe they'll decrease his workload as they start to stretch out and get some games between themselves and their division rivals. But yeah, he's playing a lot of football right now. He really is. I want to shout out my guy, Dusty Baker, man. And we've been talking about the Giants, and it'll be interesting to see who the next manager is. But I get excited when Dusty wins. And coming off of last year, you would have thought that maybe Dusty would ride off into the sunset after winning a World Series championship, and Dusty put that to bed real quick. He was like, what do you want to do next, Dusty? He'll win it again. And this Astros team is not last year's team. It wasn't quite as easy for them. But they did win their division. And they have as good a chance as anybody to win the World Series. I mean, you would look at Atlanta and think that they would be the prohibitive favorite with their bats. Or maybe you'll say the Dodgers. But I think Houston has as good a chance as anybody. So I'm hoping Dusty can win another one. That'd be cool. Another NBA note that I noticed that made me feel good. The young player, Josh Primo, drafted number 12 by the San Antonio Spurs a couple of years ago, was cut by San Antonio, and a lot of us thought maybe his NBA career was over. Some real kind of weird and peculiar stories that came out of San Antonio involving him with team therapists and him either purposely or unpurposely exposing himself in some way that I really don't want to talk about because I wasn't there. I don't have a lot of the details. But the NBA did their due diligence and rendered a judgment that it was inappropriate behavior, and San Antonio cut him. He got his 2 guaranteed years on his contract, but it would not have been unreasonable to think that his NBA career could have been over at such a young age. Now, I know one of Josh Primo's trainers, one of his early trainers. And by all accounts, he was a wonderful kid. Never any problems at Alabama. And he's basically been reinstated by the NBA. The LA Clippers have signed him to a 2-way contract. And I think ultimately that will end in him restarting his NBA career at some point. And I think that's a good story. I do. I'm happy for him. And it seems like the NBA did a balanced job of certainly taking this complaint from the team therapist seriously and holding folks accountable. So I think that's how the process should work, in my opinion. The great Vicky says, you are listening to the best sports show going today. Wow. How about that? I'm smiling. Aaron, Dusty, yes. Gotta love those wristbands and toothpicks. Yo, Dusty's old school, man. Dusty's old school. Brian says, I'm not really concerned with playing in inclement weather or a hostile road environment because this run game will travel. True indeed. True indeed. True indeed. But you want to see it happen, all right? You know, you want to see it happen. I want to see it because what it does is it shuts people up. Anybody who has any trepidation, any doubt about what this young man can do, we want to see it all. I mean, I look at Brock Purdy and I look at my guy, Bryce Young, who's getting a snot kicked out of him. And I wonder, because I'm a big Bryce Young guy. And I wonder if you inserted Bryce Young into the 49ers offense, what would he look like? We know what he looks like as a member of the Carolina Panthers right now. He's frightened out there. He's frightened. I didn't think I was going to see that. But I didn't take in account just an atrocious offensive line. Now the Red Rocket is backup. Dalton's like a wild style cowboy. When he started last week, he looked better because he could take those hits. He's 6'3", probably 225, 230. And he was waiting, and delivering the football one time and moving the offense. Bryce is thinking about the impact of those hits. He's not aggressive with running. And they got to protect him because he's not the same guy if he's not being protected. But think about that for a second. If Bryce Young was a member of the 49ers, do you think that he would run the offense pretty well? I think so. Aaron says, hey, huge Dusty fan. Hopefully last year World Series win lessened the sting a bit from 2002. Not among Giant fans, but Dusty's my guy. I can tell you, Dusty, he ain't worried about that. He is not worried about that. Wasn't the Bears game last season a terrible weather? I don't remember. Mark Gray says, I love Dusty's story of smoking a joint with Jimi Hendrix. Yo, man. I've told my Dusty story. You know, Dusty gave me my first interview, and I told that story. Obviously, I didn't tell you everything we talked about, but yo, Dusty is, and I believe, like I said, I named two people in sports: Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy. Those are like the two last Renaissance men in sports. I don't know. I mean, give me some names. I don't know of any other guys that could probably sit down and tell you some stories that would just like shock the hell out of you. But I know Dusty can. And I know that his essence impacts his team. Every team that he's ever managed has loved the guy. Every team, check this out. Every team that Dusty Baker has ever managed has gone to the playoffs. The Giants, the Cubs, the Reds, the Nationals, and the Astros. 5. And yet, Dusty Baker does not get the love that he deserves, man. He doesn't. Doesn't get it. That is incredible. Are you kidding me right now? Ronnie Glacier says, it'll be interesting to see them face adversity down double digits. Yes, sir. But I just don't see this team being down double digits a lot during this year. They have too many all-pros to let that happen. You know what? I mean, Brian, you made a great point, man. Brian, your takes are awesome. This team resembles some of those like Ronnie Lott teams, man. Those Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Ronnie Lott. I mean, you're right. I mean, their defensive line. I mean, their offensive line at this point is kind of nondescript. Obviously, Trent Jones, but beyond Trent Jones, you don't think of another guy who is a certified all-pro on that offensive line. And if you do, then educate me, because I was thinking about that today. But they're good. They're real good. But that defensive unit, are you kidding me right now? Crazy. So that 49er Cowboy game is something to look forward to next week. I'm excited about that. In the NBA, who's your favorite? You could do it via conference. Are the Milwaukee Bucks the favorite? They don't have the depth. Do they have the 12? No one really has great depth anymore. The Celtics traded away their depth. They're just good. Keep your eye on the Philadelphia 76ers story, because I think that Morey has just flat out said, I'm not trading Harden. Harden's going nowhere. There are no viable options. He's going nowhere, and we're just going to deal with this morass, and we're going to work it out. You know, I'll be able to mend those fences with him, and he's going to go out and have a great year. Or there's just not a viable option that's going to help James Harden and help the 76ers. And oh, by the way, there's still $35 million on the table that he has to make this year. So Vicky says the Warriors. Steph Curry's my favorite player to watch. So, and it all starts tomorrow. They're good. They've had a good offseason. I just want to see Kuminga establish himself as a bona fide NBA player this year who can impact the game. Because there's nobody like him. There's nobody like Jonathan Kuminga in the NBA. 6'8" with long arms, as athletic as anybody in the league. The game should have slowed down quite a bit for him this year. This is year 3 or year 4. He should have a breakout year. He really should. So I'm obviously excited to see how Chris Paul fits into this organization. I don't have any problem with his age. Dude is running. He's in tip-top shape. Tremendous work ethic. No one ever said he's not a winner. So I think Chris Paul is going to fit in nicely. Andrew Wiggins, I'm a little concerned about, because Andrew Wiggins' play seems to go up and down. The highs are really, really high. And when he's playing like he did a couple of years ago, he's arguably one of the top 5 best two-way players in the NBA at his position. But when he's not, he's a head scratcher. So I'm excited about the Warriors. But wow, what a good league. Okay, thank you. This is Kuminga's 3rd year. Yeah, man. I mean, your 3rd year, we should be able to see a visual difference in his production and his maturity and his attitude. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. The Miami Heat should be the favorite to be an NBA championship. Why do you say that, Willie? I named off several players a couple of days ago that people should be excited about within the Heat's organization. Jovic, I think, is going to emerge this year as a really, really nice player, 6'10" kid, who Miami drafted a couple of years ago with the 20th pick. He's really good. Jaime Jaquez. We got Robinson. Duncan Robinson played well at the end of last year. Hopefully his confidence is still high. They made it to the finals and Tyler Hero didn't even play. Okay? They still got Jimmy Butler. They still got Bam. And now they have Orlando Robinson. And they got Kyle Lowry. I mean, yo, man. And tell me that Boston or Milwaukee are tougher than Miami. You can make an argument that they're just as tough. Jrue Holiday is going to do good things for Boston. He really is. But I wouldn't count the Miami Heat out. I just wouldn't do that. I think Aaron on the same page. He says, Wiggins drives me nuts sometimes. There are stretches where he can't hit a three if his life depended on it. Yeah, you know what? And I would say this, Aaron. Why is he taking those threes? More times than not, when he is taking three-point shots, there's like real estate in front of him that he could use to attack the rim. You know, and players get upset when you say, well, you know, they seem sensitive. But he seems like when things are going well, he's really, really good. And when things are not going well, it kind of affects his play. So I want to see him be his best self. The Heat did not have a deep bench last year, but they got a pretty good bench this year. It's just inexperienced. They have an inexperienced bench this year, but they have more players. Yeah, Cooper Rush played today doing mop-up minutes, not Trey. Well, you know the reason why? Because you can't, if you have three eligible quarterbacks, I don't think Trey was probably eligible today. If you have three quarterbacks that suit up, they have to be one of the 53. And Cooper Rush signed a multi-year extension last year. So he's making money. He solidified himself as their number two. This is like a redshirt year for Trey, unless something weird happens. You know, he's trying to ingratiate himself into their organization. They're trying to teach him their offense. We'll know what's up with Trey after this season, going into mini camp and all that good stuff. I'm hoping it works out for the kid. Cool Breeze says it's funny how the Niners are $30 million under the cap with their star Warriors way over the cap. How is that NBA more greedy? I didn't quite understand that, but I kind of get your point. And I'll give you the short answer. NFL contracts are not guaranteed. So they're signed and drafted in invisible ink. So you can make them go away real fast. That's not the NBA. The NBA contracts are guaranteed. I love that for the players, personally. I do. Because I look at professional sports for what it is. I look at professional sports for what the entity is and what they are, which are businesses that make owners and networks incalculable amounts of money. The numbers are so high you can't even count. Literally, if you go to an NBA game with your family, you got to save up half a year for that. Unless you are doing really, really well. I mean, I guess when you're a kid, I don't want to sit in nosebleeds. I mean, my eyesight is not what it used to be. I'm not going to do that. I need a decent seat. A decent seat at a Warrior game is what, $350, $400? You know, I would pay $300 or $400 to see Stevie Wonder or Prince if he was still alive. I think I paid $300 to see Nas and Mary J. Blige. Okay, I'm not doing that every day. You know, so if I'm gonna go to a Warrior game and I'm paying for it, and I'm not working in the media or I got a free ticket, $300 or $400 is okay. I'm not doing that a lot. You know, maybe you get a meal or something. I don't eat a whole lot of games, but pencil in about 30, 40, 50 bucks for food. I don't buy memorabilia. So I'm not buying those t-shirts and hoodies. I'm a Knicks fan. And I don't wear Knicks stuff either. Although I got some stuff coming. Someone's gonna give me some stuff. So. Long story short, it is very expensive to go to a NBA game. I assume the same is the case for 49er games. So, did anybody see the Alvarez and Charlo fight? I had a chance to hang out with a good friend of mine, and we actually started writing a couple of songs together. He's a really, really talented artist, and we had a great night, pizza, telling stories, and watching a fight that wasn't all that competitive. I have so much respect for boxers and MMA men and women because that's working hard for a living. But at no point in time did I think anybody who watched that fight think that Alvarez was in trouble or Charlo could hurt him. I don't think so. So I think it was probably for boxing fans. I'm not a major boxing fan, but I did think it was a real competitive fight. That's my take on that. All right, we've gone for 100 and, well, not 100, no, an hour and 23 minutes. Want to big up Dan, Coach Amelia, and all the folks who came over from NorCal Sports Channel. Thank you. If you're not subscribed to the show. And check us out when you have an opportunity, when you're not doing other things. Check us out. My man Mark Graves, I'm with you, friend. Every time I go to a concert, there's a fan standing in long lines to buy a $50 t-shirt. I mean, right, I mean, come on, man. Really? But you know what? It's funny. I think as opposed to you and I, you know, kind of getting on those folks, it's part of the experience. I guess it's part of being a fan. I don't have that kind of money. I just want to watch the games. And enjoy the experience. Like I said, I can't go to more than, I couldn't pay for more than 2 or 3 games a year. No way. Too expensive. Which opens up the opportunity for other people to go. Imagine if everybody had an opportunity to go to an NBA game. What an experience to see Steph Curry live. I mean, you watch it on TV. Television doesn't really do justice to a live performance of these guys. It really doesn't. Football is a little different because I've never been that close. I've been on the sideline covering like the Raiders, and you really can't see this. The NFL is a better watch actually on television, but I don't think I can say that about the NBA because things on television are moving so fast. When you have a good seat at an NBA game and you actually see the play design, see the cutting, you see the trajectory of the ball leaving the player's hands, you see the height that the players get to when they dunk on somebody, a live performance of an NBA game or a high-level college game is spectacular. It really is. I wish everybody could experience that. It's different than watching it on television. All right. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for checking me out. I really appreciate you. This has been a fun show. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing, all right? I am Frank Red. Hit me up on Twitter at Big Frank Red. And if you have not subscribed to the show and you like it, you think it's worthy of your allegiance, then hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I want to thank everybody out there who consistently steps in the dungeon. I look forward to another show in a day or two, all right? Good night, everybody. Take care. Peace.